The zombie fanatic here says, Husam, how are you? Do you think Liverpool will make any signings this January?
Trusting Liverpool Football Club to make a signing when you need it is like trusting a toddler to like unscrew a HD television and put it up on the wall. He just can't do it. And this is the problem with my football club. This where every time in the transfer market across the season, Terry will tell you this, I've actually been quite positive. When we drew to Luton, when we drew to Brighton, we've had bad results this year. I've backed my club, I've backed my team, I've not said anything negative. When it comes to the transfers, this is where a leopard doesn't change its spots. The Liverpool version of a leopard not changing its spots is our transfer window. I do not trust this ownership group, the same ownership group that, you know, when we were top of the league in 2020, 2021, gave us Ozan Kabak and Ben Davies, you know. So, look, obviously we need a centre-back as things stand because Matip's out at the end of the year. And actually done a bit of calculation. We've already played 31 plus games. If all goes well in the Europa League, we're going to play 7 games. We have 18 Premier League game left. That's 25 games. We've got 2 Carabao Cup games left. That's 27 games. And the FA Cup. So it rounds up to almost 30 games from now until June. Now, because I exist in the real world and I don't exist in the ideal world, in the real world, injuries happen. In the real world, problems like that happen. So because injuries do happen, because people do get injured, because people do get fatigued, because people can't play 15 competitions all in the same time. I will remind the Liverpool fans that are calling me negative now of the quadruple charge season in which Thiago and Fabinho had to take steroid injections in their knees to play a Champions League final. And this is exactly why you need rotation. This is exactly why you need help. So I'm looking at Liverpool Football Club right now. There's no FFP problems. We got money. We just clearly don't have the ambition. FSG out until they prove me otherwise. We need a centre back. I think DM, I could live with McAllister, my midfielder there, my baller, Alexis McAllister, and Endo being there. And I actually think probably we need maybe a forward more than a DM right now. But the ultimate priority for me is a centre back, is a defensive player, 100%.
I get you on that. This super chat here says Todibo linked to Liverpool in the summer, and we should get him now. He can cover injuries at right back and centre back because Trent is injured. His injury is worse than thought.
And this is an example of what I was telling you with Arsenal. Matip is out at the end of the season, Terry. They're saying this season is going to be Matip's final season at Liverpool. Now the question in my mind becomes, okay, so you're going to get rid of Matip in the summer anyway, and you're going to buy a centre back anyway. What are we waiting for exactly? Might as well just get the centre back in now. It makes no sense.
I'm going to say this: I don't think you're going to get Todibo. You may, if Man United want him, Man United are getting him. The owner of Nice is the owner of Man United now. I genuinely mean this. It's just it's going to be a Man United player. Unless we don't want him, then somebody else will
Nice
get
apparently
him.
Don't want to sell because they're only 4 points behind PSG, I think.
Yeah, right now they're not gonna do it. German chicken wing says, I thought this fraud said Arsenal would finish first.
I thought you said you supported City your whole life. Turns out yesterday he admitted he supported Arsenal before. Pick up German chicken wing, bro.
Is that Hamza's brother, bro?
Yeah, Hamza's cousin.
That's one talented toddler if he can fit a TV.
LCN, it's the opposite of what I said. The toddler can't fit a TV, and FSG can't spend money when we need it. So,
I wanted to ask you a question about Liverpool. Yes. What's been your thoughts recently on the performances from Curtis Jones?
I like how you just mentioned Curtis Jones there out of all the players because you know the history of Husam and Curtis Jones. I think Curtis Jones has improved massively over the last 12 months. Since the last 10 games of last season and the start of this season, I think he's been our second best midfielder after McAllister. I still think McAllister has been our best midfielder this year and has been our signing of the season. Everything's positive at Liverpool right now in terms of on the pitch wise. Very happy with the results, very happy with the win away at the Emirates. Even the only loss we've had this season in the league has been a VAR atrocity. So I'm very positive about where the team are at. Do I think we have what it takes to go over the edge and win stuff? No, I don't think we're going to win the Premier League. And Once again, that's because I exist in real life. I don't exist in an ideal world. There's going to be injuries. There's going to be stuff like that. We have Europa League. We've got a Carabao Cup to still to play for. We've got an FA Cup as well now. So I think from 21st January until 4th February, we've got about 5 games in a period of 12, 13 days. We've got the Carabao Cup semis, the second leg, and then we've got about 3 Premier League games, and we have the FA Cup game against Bristol or Norwich as well. So we've got so many games of football to play. So rotations are going to be key, but at the same time, Konate is an injury waiting to happen. Joe Gomez has an injury in him. We cannot clone Joe Gomez. When it comes to Curtis Jones, when it comes to our midfield, I'm actually quite happy with our midfield this season. I think our midfield has done really well. Szoboszlai has had a good season. McAllister's had a good season. Gravenberg has probably been the disappointing signing of the summer. Endo has shocked us all. Curtis Jones has stepped up. Elliott has had important moments for us. So I think our midfield, that's why I said, listen, with new evidence comes new opinions. I'm not so shot on Liverpool getting a DM anymore. I don't think DM is a priority now, because McAllister and Endo can show that they've done a good job there for me, and specifically over the last 2-3 months. But centre back is what we need.
And I like how you've answered that, because it shows, what you said before, because someone sent me a clip and they were like, please show this to Sam and get his opinion on it. But I wanted to get your opinion before I showed the clip to put it into context. Do you remember saying this?
Curtis Jones is worse than Charlie Adam. And I say that with full chest. Curtis Jones has never hit the level of Charlie Adam at Blackpool. That's just the fact. He's never even hit. He's genuinely one of the worst players I've ever seen play for my club. Did Tom Little send you that clip? Be honest.
No, it got sent to me by a random on Twitter. He was like, can I send you this clip? I want you to ask Husam. It wasn't to try and catch you out. It was more to say, can you ask Husam if his opinion on Curtis Jones has changed in the last year or so? So I thought I'd ask you. That's why I asked you first, because I didn't want to play that and then people would say you're just saying it. And you did. You said with new information, things change. And the reason I put it out there is because I think in the industry that we're in, doing what we do, fan opinion, everybody's always too hell-bent on something you said a year ago, 2 years ago, an opinion you used to hold. And I thought my response is almost, unless you watch everything I say and do every single day, it's almost, you've got to drop this sort of over challenging of everything, because we all change our minds and opinions over the course of time. And if somebody watches you week in, week out, they'd have probably seen you on multiple occasions praise Curtis Jones.
Yes.
And kind of say, he's really impressed me. He's changing my mind. It's just weird. I know a year and a half ago, you said this. And the person just said, can you see if he's changed his mind? I thought I'd show it and see, but thought I'd do a touch and let you answer the question first, which is
I did change my mind, because listen, at the time of saying that, I stick by my opinion. At said time of saying it, Curtis Jones was
awful then. He was
awful, and he stepped up. So if he steps up, he gets praise. At the time, he was shit. It's the reality.
Absolutely. And Chicken Wing here says this is why you can't take him seriously. But let me just respond on your behalf for a minute here. This is the problem. That was a match reaction after losing in the last minute at home to Leeds. So you're emotional. 2, that's how Husam believed he was performing at that time. Curtis Jones has gone away, improved, become better, and he's become a critical part of the team. Where Husam, I would say you're right to not take him seriously, is if Husam doesn't let go of that opinion, continues to berate him, doesn't praise the improvement, and looks for any excuse to ride out and shoot the guy down. He hasn't. He said, I just don't believe that anymore. He's improved. He's impressed me. I think you should take somebody in life more seriously who says, I got that wrong, or I was wrong a year ago, or I was right a year ago and I'm wrong now, whatever it may be. That's generally in life the people you should take seriously, because when it comes to talking football, let's take it just to football. When it comes to giving an opinion, I would say you're lucky if anybody's right about more than 20%. Now, a lot of people go, I'm right about everything. It isn't true. You might be right in the moment when something's really popular, but there's loads of things that lots of people get wrong. Me, Husam, Lee, Sav, I'm just talking about the straight facts people here. We all get things wrong. We all get things right. The only ones you shouldn't take seriously are the grown men, because we're all men that do this show on my channel, the straight fact shows, that don't hold their hands up and say, I got that one wrong. That for me is what you should avoid, like the plague, bruv. 110%.
Yeah, and listen, at the time of me saying that, Curtis Jones really was trash. So listen, It wasn't just me who had that opinion. It was just my face in front of a camera. But many people did agree with me at the time. And now, since the last 10 games of last season, starting with this season as well, he's played really well and he deserves credit. And 100%, I've given him credit. And, you know, it is what it is. There were people who said way worse things last season, by the way. There were people who were flop out. There were people who were saying sell Mo Salah, sell Trent, sell Virgil. I never said any of that shit. I just called Curtis Jones trash because he was trash at the time.
El Carp here says, well, it's interesting that you are saying this because that's what people on your shows does a lot. They want to take praise we gave to Arsenal players from last season and apply it to this season. But then that's the job of the other panelists to call them out. I call them out. You call them out. That's why it's a community. So you don't have to agree. You don't have to just accept somebody's opinion in the moment that you think's wrong. And equally, I do think it's one of the, one of my bugbears at the moment is Arsenal are linked to some players. And I see certain people get asked a question, do you think X is good enough? Well, you guys shouldn't even be challenging it because you said if Arteta backs him, you'll back it. And it's like, well, that's not an answer, is it? Like, I want your opinion on things. So this whole, like, I'm not going to, and a lot of people do this now in the YouTube space, and it's so annoying. Instead of answering questions, which could leave them being laughed at in the future, they just throw it back to, well, you guys have said this before, so therefore that's what I'm going to answer with now. And it's boring. Like, imagine we all stop giving opinions. There'd be no point of doing what we do. So I get where you're coming from, but your job as a viewer is to challenge it. And the jobs of the panel is to challenge it. And sometimes you'll have a panel that agrees with it. The next, in the last week, we spoke about Poch 2 or 3 times. We've had some people say sack him. We've had people like Husam say keep him. It's the balance. If everybody had the same opinion, it'd be really boring. Do you think we should not sign Mbappe because Liverpool is great because we have signed great potential and refrain from signing stars? So you're going to turn down Mbappe because he's already a star? Come on, Jackie.
Jackie, please. Jackie, you have just made me bang my head 5 times on this empty water bottle right here. I've just banged my head 5 times on it. I'm going to use an example from a different sport. In the draft that Michael Jordan was available in, the Portland Trail Blazers infamously went first. They needed a center at the time. There was a guy who was advising the Portland Trail Blazers, and they said, get Jordan and play Jordan at center. It doesn't matter as long as you get the guy. With Kylian Mbappe, it does not matter what type of structure we have, what kind of payments we make, what type of shit we do. Get Mbappe at Liverpool Football Club ASAP if it's a possibility. If we can do it, do it. Couldn't care less how much we pay. It's not what we usually do. Mbappe, Salah, and a forward in this Liverpool team would be a danger to the football world entirely. So yeah, have some shame, Jackie.
This here says, Husam, the way Endo has adapted and excelled in the last 6 games, I think, has impressed me too. What is happening with Szoboszlai and Gravenberch, though? Charlie Adams is in midfield. It's kind of weird the direction that them two have gone compared to Endo with how it started, but I think that's the peaks and troughs of all of them joining a new league. I think you'll get a bit of that. There'll be probably more time this year again where Endo drops off a little bit again, and it takes them a little time to settle, I suppose.
Yeah, and look, Endo and McAllister were getting criticized at the start of the season, and once again, this goes back to the Jones thing, and rightfully so, because Szoboszlai was by far our best midfielder at the start of the season. Now, everyone's looking at this team and like, yo, low-key, McAllister's our best midfielder. People are jumping on the McAllister train that I started. The train has set off now, though, so there's no more tickets available. So if you did not buy McAllister stocks, you can no longer buy them. We're full. But yeah, listen, Gravenberch specifically, I think, is probably... I think out of our 4 signings, Gravenberch has been by far the worst performing out of the 4.
Yeah, I would say that's fair. Twisted here says, Terry, don't you crave footballing opinion validation? No, it's nice when people agree with your opinion. It's nice when somebody says, yeah, I get where you're coming from. It can be infuriating when you're having a live debate and the other person either doesn't get or pretends to not understand the angle you're coming from. But I don't think I ever wake up and go, oh, please, today somebody agree with me. I'm so desperate for people to agree. Sometimes you put a video out and it bangs and you get a lot of people say, wow, you were right. Sometimes you put it out and it bangs in terms of numbers, but everyone says you're an idiot. I don't really think about it in that context. That's never what I've done. It's never what I've chased. So no, not personally, but I understand that some people do.